welcome to The Real Study with your hosts, MrSniDBitS.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised. It was funny, it was fun, it kept the spirit alive.
BlackGirlMarvel.
I cried laughing. That was hilarious.
Tylermakesfilms.
It's like so much depth because like nowadays it's, you know, you got A shot, B shot.
Allthemoviethings.
There's some great like wide shots in this.
Lieutenant Commander Ray.
Their love enduring through time is what connected to me the most.
And me, the Real Study movie voice guy.
But this was the first time where I got to see it like told in a way where I was like, oh man.
Let's go to the poster wall.
Good evening and welcome to The Real Study. My name is MrSniDBitS, and with me as always is BlackGirlMarvel. Lieutenant Commander Ray is with us tonight, as well as Tylermakesfilms. All the movie things will be out for the month. He is doing stuff on location in other countries and such, so we will catch him next month.
He fancy.
He is. But he works film adjacent. So we have a couple of movies tonight. We've got The Little Mermaid, which is of course a live action remake of the 1989 classic, animated classic. And then of course we have Wonka starring Timothée Chalamet. And we will get into both of these films. But before we do that, I want to move us over to the main screen, and La has her announcement about things and such.
What up, y'all? So listen, we would appreciate it if you would go ahead and hit that bell, sub to us so you don't miss any of these episodes. And that goes for y'all listening live on the podcast too. Make sure you hit, I know there's a bell or a sub somewhere or a follow where you can make sure that you get our notifications whenever we drop anything. And so you can save us and watch us for later or watch us live or however you want to do it. But just make sure you do it as well. You can join us on Discord, talk to us, you know, put in a movie or a TV show you want us to engage in or watch or review or however it is. You can come talk to us or, you know, just talk, period. You can even promote your own stuff on our Discord because we want to share the wealth. And we're on all social media as well. The Instagrams, the IGs, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the kids are calling it these days, the Twitters, the TikToks. We're all on there, and we all have our separate stuff and we all have one together. So just follow us on everything. You won't miss a beat. You'll have a great time. Back to you, MrSniDBitS.
Well, thank you, La. I appreciate that. And as always, we have a few films that we've all watched prior to watching the two films for the show, and we're going to, of course, talk about that. Welcome to all that are showing up. Of course, we got Aina, Janine, and others who I can't see. There's
Janine.
So I know that you guys both, as in Tyler and La, watched Civil War this week. And Ray, I know you watched Discovery, so even if you want to spend a minute on how you feel.
I actually didn't watch this week's Discovery yet.
Okay.
Nobody spoil it. Anybody that's watching this live right now, don't nobody spoil it.
Right.
Spoilers can't be a part of the Real University. That's our Discord. Nobody can.
Fact.
Yeah, right.
Don't spoil.
We can spoil because we're on the show. That's
what you're here for. You're here for the spoilage.
Right.
Okay?
But only of the two films. Usually even the other films we're not into that.
Well, in that case, on that episode of Discovery now.
And Tyler was really
Ray just leaves. It's like a blank spot there now.
Well,
it's like a Ray shaped.
I'm out. See?
Right? Just gone.
I know, right? It's like, fine.
Love it. So you, La, and Tyler both got to watch Civil War in theaters this weekend, this last week, I should say. And I have a movie I also watched. So do you guys want me to throw mine, and then you guys can have like a dual discussion on Civil War?
I mean, I'll fight Ty, but I mean,
yeah, I was like, we could duel about it.
No,
yeah,
we can definitely duel. Like,
fair enough.
Duel.
I meant more like a duel, not duel. Anyway,
a duel.
So the film that I watched over the last week, I did get my wife to watch The Godfather, and I was very proud of that, and she was very happy with the film, and I was like,
the first one?
What you think? Yep, it's not what you think, and she was like, wow, this is good, and I agree, it's good. We've got BlackGirlMarvel in two places tonight. That's throwing my brain off. All right. She's on Twitch and on YouTube, throwing me off. So the movie I watched this week that I did want to talk about was the movie Totally Killer. It's a Prime film, and it's basically another Blumhouse film, which I love those films. I'm mixed.
I like those films. Like I like those films so much.
He's like 30% good, 70%. and so I'm really skeptical whenever I walk into a Blumhouse film. But this one, you know, it's got a pretty great cast. I was pretty excited. It's got, of course, the girl that played Sabrina the Teenage Witch in the remake. It's got the I'm terrible with names when it comes to some actors because they're just not on your radar necessarily. But the film is essentially, it's a slasher film, kind of in the same vein as Scream. It kind of has Scream-like tones, but it's also Back to the Future.
Come on.
Where the murders took place 35 years ago, and our main protagonist gets thrown back into 1987 in order to deal with the murders. And it's
like
different.
is that like Last Night at Soho? Isn't Last Night at Soho kind of like that?
It's not, that one's more like mental. This one is like physically they make a time machine and like get in it. It's a photo booth and like that like her best friend, her best friend's mom is like
I'm watching that tonight.
Yeah, her mom's an engineer, and like so her best friend's like, well, my mom gave up on the time machine, but I'm building it, and they don't even like, you just let go because they don't go into it or why it works or how it works.
Okay.
And I didn't expect that, so that to me seems like a draw. They should like people should know more about that. But even the feeling, like it has that Back to the Future kind of. They even talk about the movie, so it's very meta. It's a little bit of everything, and I think it hits the right tones. And it's one of my favorite Blumhouse films at this point. So.
Oh, nice! That speaks volumes, you guys.
This one as soon as I can.
Oh.
What is it called?
Totally
Killer.
Now it is
okay. So in this film,
I want to put this out there for it because it is a horror film. There were a couple of moments, especially being a parent, where
it's rated R.
Those people are acting so well. I feel like they're being murdered, and it definitely had that like gut wrenching feel for me.
Well, that's alarming. But okay.
Well,
the few names that you would know from this film is Kiernan Shipka because she's the lead.
She is
Julie Bowen plays her mom.
Right, and she is the most believable.
I don't know if anybody know Lachlan Monroe. Of course she is.
And of course she's
Randall Park is also in this as well. So
Randall Park.
Lachlan Monroe.
Lachlan Monroe. Lachlan Monroe
is a guy from my teenage years, and so seeing him in this as a dad,
he's been in a lot of things.
I'm dated, of course. I'm like, oh crap, okay, I'm the dad in the movie.
I remember him mostly from Scary Movie and Charmed. Like those are the two I remember him from the most. Yeah. And White Chicks.
He's always weird. He's always kind of a goofy, and he still is, and it works.
Very true.
But anyway, that's a movie I do suggest if you like horror, if you like comedy, if you like sci-fi.
I might have to check that out.
A bit of all three.
Yeah.
Yeah, and tell me what you think. Not every movie.
I'll make a video.
Need a good slasher. Like we're waiting for Maxine to come out. I don't know if anyone's interested in that.
Well,
I saw the trailer to it. It was amazing. I was like, something's up with Ty West that I'm obsessed with. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. So,
on the 5th, we'll be reviewing Pearl. So we'll be doing the middle film. We already reviewed X, I think a year and a half ago, or when it came out.
Something like that.
We'll do Pearl right before, of course, Maxine comes out. So we'll see.
Pearl was wild.
I still haven't gotten to see Pearl, so I'm excited.
Pearl was wild. I've seen Pearl. Pearl was wild, man. That's why in the chat I was like, "Hey Ray," I was like, because I've never seen, because we're gonna do The Descent 2 on the 5th, and I've never seen The Descent before, but I've always seen the cover. I've always seen the cover for The Descent, so I always knew it was like bloody and like weird.
The Descent is more like a claustrophobia thing, and it's very real. It's very difficult to handle.
Yeah.
So,
but when you said Pearl, I was like, "This is not a film for Ray." I was like, let me shout her out real quick. I was like, "This is not no."
But the acting though, the acting solid.
The acting, listen, Mia Goth, it's something about her.
The trailer was like really, I was like, wow, this is, for somebody who likes this is very compelling. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But that's the thing. You get good directors that are willing to continue with horror films instead of using it as an entry to Hollywood, using it as like a means to keep showing off different things. You get some good stuff.
Which is crazy.
I will say this though,
the music video director, right? Like
but honestly, his stuff looks like it though. But it still reads as a film.
Yeah, it works.
Which is like very rare for a lot of like, it's like you get, plus you could tell like by the trailers, the music goes so well with like what he's doing, what he's putting into it. So I will say this though, Ray, go check out the Maxine trailer. It's a really good trailer. I'll say that it's a really good trailer.
And then the Maxine trailers.
Right, just watch the trailers. You're fine.
Yeah.
Watch the trailers. You're good.
Cool.
Okay, so you guys, I want to hear what you each think about Civil War. Law, tell me what you think about Civil War.
Sorry, thought I saw something crawling. Okay. I don't do spiders. So anyway, I
Nobody
thought
should.
Civil War, nobody should, but some people be having them in their hands and stuff. I don't get
I
it.
have a friend. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
They be like, look at my pet, and I'll be like, but Civil War was a very interesting film. I made a little spoiler-free review on my TikTok and Instagram if anybody want to go check that out. But I'll just say what I put in my tagline every time was that this made me feel like I was watching history, but we haven't gotten to it yet. Like I felt like it was in the future, like it was showing us what was to come while we're still living in it. It was very visceral. It was very and I don't even mean because it's a rated R film as well, and I don't mean just like by the scenes that they showed, like the death scenes and stuff like that, or just the writing and the ridiculous things. The core of the people, the core of the actors that we're watching, how they react, how they talk, how they move. It was very like grounded and down to earth and like very visceral in some of the things that happened to them. It's such a good film. Shout out to Kirsten Dunst, because I will say this for sure. I don't think I really watched anything of hers after like Spider-Man, if I'm being totally for real, which I probably have to go back through her
You saw
filmography.
Hidden Figures though.
I mean, yeah, but she wasn't like the star.
Right.
Like, I meant like things that like
She's
starred her.
Yeah.
Right. That she's like prominent.
You should
in
watch
it. So,
Fargo if you ever get the chance. She was really good. That's the one that
was she?
Yeah, she's really good in
Okay.
that show.
Because there's so much stuff of hers that I was like, watching this film, I was like, yo, I forgot how I did enjoy watching her as an actor, even from like, Interview with the Vampire, Jumanji, Bring It On, like throughout the years. And like, I kind of just stopped when she became an adult. And I'm like, we like the same age. Why did I stop watching this? Like watching her. So like this kind of like lighted a fire underneath me to go watch her stuff. But she was amazing in this. Like everybody that was cast perfectly in this. This film was, I feel like it's a must see for people to go check out if you know. And like I said, it has its moments, but I don't think it's so bad to the point where you couldn't get through it. But it is a little difficult to get through. It's like I told them before we started recording that I had moments where I was like, ooh, like I jumped a couple of times, and it's like something that gets me to jump, like makes me physically move. It's something, okay? It did something. That's all I was saying.
All right.
Yeah.
Tyler, what did you think of Civil War?
I just to build on like what you were saying, like I can get why, because I got out, like I enjoyed it, and I talked to like Marley and stuff about it after it. I can see why this film is like divisive, like especially the timing of like everything that's going on in Palestine, and like it's a lot. It's not like I'm gonna go to watch Civil War. I can't wait to watch this A24 film. Like it looks really good too. Like it's some of like the craziest film. Like I don't know how he really captured like the feel of like being on the ground, like with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed the performances and everything. Kirsten Dunst is awesome. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. It was just like I can see why people might not like this movie, and like I'm not like arguing with them if they didn't like it. But it is interesting to see like the horrors that like America imposes on other countries if we did it to ourselves. Like I was like, hello. And some people won't like that. Some people don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I'll just tell people don't want to have.
This film is like, it's literally like the United States going to war with itself. It's literally the United States. The United States was in such disarray that it broke up into different factions, and that's where the Civil War came from. They're all trying to fight for the right to kill the president of the United States. So yeah.
Oh, fair warning too, if you're not white. This movie is really, really triggering for anyone that like is not like.
Yeah,
it's not fun. At all.
There's a scene that even Kirsten Dunst talks about because her husband's in it. Her husband's in this one scene, and it was a favor to them because I don't think they could find people to do that scene, and he like came in as a favor and did this one scene that it was so racially charged, and the way that these actors like held themselves in that scene, I I don't know. That was I think I would have to be like, let me take a break. Let me take a day. Let me take a half a day after this scene. Like it was a crazy scene, very realistic, and I don't even know how realistic because I've never been through anything like that, but it felt very like this is what that would be if I was a part of that. So yeah.
Wow.
So the 80 million was spent well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's only 80 million?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good.
But for
Damn.
A24,
That's-
that's like an
I'm about to
inflated
say
budget.
that's
That's a big budget,
A24.
right? Yeah.
A24 is like because it spans like from one part of the United States like another
Right.
part. Like I forget where they start, but they have to drive all the way to Washington D.C. and they're driving
very
during the
Walking
Civil
Dead.
War.
Yeah.
No, it even looks very Walking Dead, like just abandoned cars everywhere. It's
I mean,
dead
the
bodies.
apocalypse is going to be the
It's-
apocalypse. Is going to be the
Yeah,
apocalypse.
that's what it felt like. It felt like the apocalypse. But then they had and I was gonna say this, and we could like move on and everything. I just because it popped in my head. There's a moment where they drive into a town that hasn't been touched by this war.
Mm-hmm.
It's still idyllic. It's still like there's still people working in the shops, clothes and things like
Wow.
that. But they also have people on the roof with guns.
Like, they're still part of it. They're just not.
They're still part of it. They're just not acknowledging it unless somebody comes into their town acknowledging it.
Wow.
Weird.
So it's a wild. It shows every facet I think of what you could be going through as part of humanity within this film. It's a great film. I would say.
All right. So it sounds like a couple movies for people to check out this week beyond what we're going to discuss, which I think we're going to move on to now. We're going to move on to The Little Mermaid, which, as mentioned before, stars Halle Bailey. And I did not know Javier Bardem was in it. That threw me. But
Oh.
So,
This was your first time seeing it?
oh, yeah. This is my first time on both films.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's so great, Snitty. That means you got to go first.
Oh, that is the rule, isn't it? That is
Yes.
that is the rule. So if I can get the current movie pulled up, there we go. So yeah, the Little Mermaid. I'm an enormous fan of the original. Kind of like at the.
I love that so
that's
much.
like my favorite Disney animated movie.
Wow.
Outside.
Can we get you
of-
to make a video about that on your page, please?
I mean, it's a little like I
Period.
was like what 12 when it came out, and I was also not
It
like
doesn't
running
have
around
to do with
school
it.
going, "Hey, guess
Right.
what, guys?" Or I love the Little Mermaid. It was very much for me.
need a video. That's
But my family, we watched a lot of the Disney movies because we were a VHS family. We were a renting family because we lived out in the middle of
Come
nowhere,
on.
so we just bought movies and brought them home all the time. One of them being The Little Mermaid. So I walked into this, going, okay, you guys have a tone that you have to meet. You have an expectation that I'm looking for. And I would say that the movie did that. I think it did a really good job of making me feel like, all right, this is the same story, but expanded on. And there were definitely some things they had no choice but to kind of change because there's no big-eyed cartoon characters. So you can't do these wild expressions that you would see from like Scuttle or Ariel from the original film. And so they had to do that either with voice or like they did with Ariel with the singing voiceover for her internal voice, which at first it was jarring. And then I went, well, how else are they going to do this? So I kind of understood why. This is a director who is wildly famous for doing musicals and Disney movies. So definitely, I think a good pick. Did Chicago, and that's an Academy Award-winning musical. So I think that good choice. Casting, I think, is pretty great across the board. I was definitely like everybody else. I know there's no choice, but how do you deal with real digital fish and crabs? It was jarring at first, but by the end of the movie, I kind of accepted it. But it was definitely like, that's not Flounder. That's not Sebastian. Daveed Diggs
it's very Airbuds to me. It's very
kills
Airbuds.
it as Sebastian. Two negative things. One, it's a remake, so there was no like, how does this end, right? So I know. And then the other one is the music that was missing from the third tier characters, right? There was no music from the fish. There was no music from the birds within the kiss the girl scene, which for me was like, so I'm listening to Aquafina and Daveed the whole time. Okay, I understand what I'm going through now. So like, for me, that's kind of
You
where
wanted
I,
more
where
of
I
a
was.
course. I'm assuming.
I really wanted
Yeah.
that, like,
type of thing.
because
Yeah,
the
I feel you.
the crescendo
The
is much
swell,
larger
yeah.
with more
Yeah.
the swell.
That
That's a good point.
orchestral type
Yes.
of
So even
I
if they
gotcha.
had like found a way to like, they would happen to go past a band or something, and the band joined it. I don't know, something that could have been a slight, because they did some slight changes, but I digress. Everybody else had seen it, I assume. Oh, Tyler. Okay, so we're gonna go to Tyler.
Come on, Ty.
What you
I will
got?
say though, I seen a lot of scenes from it because I was working at a movie theater during that time.
Right.
And like,
Right.
I don't know if it was the movie theater I was in, but the movie was really dark, I think. I mean, it's a lot brighter than I remembered it watching it now. So, yeah, the movie is like over. I'm just gonna start with I wanted to like it. I did, and like I really wanted it to be good. I just didn't. I couldn't do it. I don't know if it's like the photorealism. I don't know why Disney got to do it like that. Like, there's just certain things like with animation, like I just don't know why you needed to do it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the movie's like 2 hours long. Like, I said it in my Letterboxd. Like, I'm sorry, it felt like a chore to watch this movie, dude. Like they were going through all the beats, it was hitting everything, but like it just wasn't like connecting. And then, man, I don't know, Lin-Manuel Miranda, like low-key a menace, because that Aquafina rap scene, bro. I don't.
Ooh, baby.
I wanted to hide. Yeah, I know, Ray. I know you were like, no.
You didn't like it? The Aquafina rap scene?
I wanted to get out, bro.
If I could avoid Aquafina, I would.
Yeah.
No, that's facts.
Gosh,
I think this
agree.
was her least annoying role because Scuttle is annoying. So like, kind of.
Nah.
I disagree.
Really?
I feel like her least annoying
I loved
role
Scuttle
for
in the
me
original.
might have been Raya in The Last Dragon. Like, she wasn't as annoying as I thought she was going to be in that
Yeah.
role. But this one, I was like, whew.
Yeah, as Sisu, it made sense that she was being her, you know what I mean, her more characteristic type self, her performance. But this, like, I love Scuttle. The fact that Scuttle was kind of harebrained, but like always came
Crooked eye.
through, like that I love
Yeah.
about Scuttle. And the fact that it was, because I don't think I remembered when I like had originally heard about it that she was Scuttle. And when she came on screen, it was a jump scare. Real talk. No cap. I'm dead serious. When I heard her voice come out of Scuttle, oh my God, what is happening?
Because it's just very, like, it's very squawky. It's very
squawky.
It's very, hi guys. It's very squawky. It's a lot.
Nah,
it's a lot.
But
It's like,
what was the casting for it? Like, they were like, oh, Aquafina, because water.
no,
and, like,
facts.
it-
Like,
her.
I
think
really feel like
Aquafina is they're trying to make her the new, like they want her to be a thing, and so they keep pushing
Yeah.
that,
right.
like she's like popular. She got popular after Shang-Chi, and like people
Please
have just
stop.
been like, let's put her in
Do
everything.
not make her a thing.
Yeah, no, they
No,
can-
yeah. But is that like
can
what else
still
did you
up on
like or not like about the film, Ty?
This is no dig at the CGI artists, but was it me or like the faces weren't connecting with the bodies, or like I don't know what was happening.
Definitely, yeah.
It has some moments.
And like it's like I don't know if that's why like certain performances, like I love Halle Bailey, but like I don't think it was like she did fine, and I think the singing, of course, is like amazing. I think it was unfortunate that I don't think it like showed her acting capabilities because of I don't know if it's the CGI, just like I wasn't connected to Ariel for most of the movie.
I think it's the underwater problem, because the Aquaman movies have the same problem. Like any movie that's underwater, it just doesn't feel right. So everything looks disjointed and jarring. And it's odd.
But I just feel like Disney has done this enough. You would have think that they would have gotten this down by now, or at least to some type of.
Water's hard, man. Like I know water in general
facts.
is hard to animate. Like so, I get it. But like, and then Javier Bardem, like, he's just like funny every time he comes. Like I just wasn't buying him, and it was kind of like. He's like, oh,
he was nicer.
I don't know. It was just something weird about his
honestly.
like,
For sure.
I think one of
he was
the
definitely more tame than the animated version. For sure.
Yeah, he's way more tame.
Right.
They wrangled him very much. I was like,
Triton was wild for sure.
This ain't the daddy I remember from the.
Absolutely.
I mean, overall, like I don't know. It just was really hard to get through. I don't think I'm gonna be like watching it again necessarily, unless like we have to. But yeah, That's some of my thoughts on it.
We don't.
Let's watch it
typically
next week, you
re-review,
guys,
so-
just for time. No, I'm sorry.
No.
I feel like we did because I could have sworn we've done this movie before. I thought we did, but maybe
No, yeah, no. What's nice is, and we'll put this out there for everybody. The Real Study is on Letterboxd. I know it's not listed right there, but we are on Letterboxd, and every movie we've ever reviewed is listed there with the average rating from us all. And then you'll find there's like 6 or 7 films that have gotten a perfect rating from the Real Study. Those are at the front. Those 4 like favorite films, and then you gotta kind of search out the other 2 or 3. But that's a good way to keep track, because at this point we're at like 300 films, so it's kind of hard to keep track. But yeah, Ray, what did you think of The Little Mermaid?
So for a lot of points, I do agree with Ty. I originally saw this, I want to say maybe like 6 months ago. Like, I didn't watch it initially when it came out, but I wanted to see it. And I originally rated it 3 out of 5 stars. I think that that's the minimum that it needs. Like, it was a good movie,
Right.
and I appreciate the significance of it. I was actually talking about it with my cousin yesterday, my mom today. Like, my nieces, who are little now, would have found a lot of comfort in it. Like, for me, this was the equivalent for them of what the Brandy Cinderella was for me. I like it, like, and it makes sense generationally that they were just like, oh my God, I love it. And she's a live action princess, not an animated one like Tiana, like no shade to Tiana, but to have a real Black girl on screen, that she was a princess and they loved it. And for them, this was 12 out of 10. No notes. You know what I mean? For me, having seen the original, and I love the original. It didn't land. Not that they didn't do a good job, it just didn't hit for me. And I do think that it was trying to alter it in a way to make it an individual movie while it being like a live action remake, having the points of the original that needed to be there. We needed Under the Sea. We needed Part of Your World. We needed all of those. And then they added additional to try and flesh it out. I don't think that this needed to be 2 hours. Like, no shade to Eric, but we could have lost Eric's song. I didn't like it.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I fast forwarded.
He's a
Eric's
fine actor.
song. I'm just
like,
as you should have, sir.
You know what I mean?
I was like, this wasn't in the first one.
No, and it was new. I mean, I like the scene where she's hiding in his like treasure room. Like, I liked that part.
Yeah.
I thought that was really insightful. Like, I like the idea of fleshing out his character. I don't think that they did it well, because the scenes at the beginning, we get to see him on the ship, which like there are scenes of Eric on the ship in the original, but it's not like this addition, like the attempt at development. It's just to establish him as a character.
Yeah.
So this is like, he's kind of whimsical, and you know what I mean? He's a daredevil, like he's a risk taker, and like, we get it, you know what I'm saying? He's giving rich kid, you know what I mean? Like, he's like,
facts. I'm so tired of my rich life. I need to do things to make me excited.
Exactly.
It's like, you have everything you want in life,
Correct.
sir.
The dog had as much play as Eric in the beginning of the original. Like, that's
right.
And we don't get nearly as much of the dog in this. I was
right.
disappointed in that.
Exactly.
He's there. I was glad he was there.
The performances I thought were good. I mean, Hallie was beautiful and she sounded fantastic, and she did exactly what she needed to do. As Ariel, I thought Melissa was great. Like, I like the risk, the attempt, because I don't think that they would have chosen her if it hadn't have been for her career. She's built her career that she would be the perfect casting for this type of film. That kind of over the top, grandiose performance needed to be a live action Ursula. I thought she was great. I think just the performances that Javier has given, that kind of subdued, like, but like boiling a little bit, like that, you know what I mean? Like that just above simmer type of energy, that he gave enough of that.
That's what it is.
For him to be effective as Triton. I don't think he went far enough over the edge for me. He could have gone harder in the paint. And yeah, I'm good on Flounder and Aquafina as Scuttle. Like I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like that was too much for me. But overall it was fine. I probably won't watch it again, but it was fine. It was good.
All right. I like it. La, what did you think of The Little Mermaid?
Okay, all right, let's get into it. So,
Uh-oh.
okay, so I'm gonna say this. I'm a self-proclaimed Disney girl. Y'all know I love my Disney. If you don't know by listening to however many times we done talked about stuff and watched stuff, I love me some Disney. Okay, Disney animated Little Mermaid wasn't like my favorite movie of all time, but I enjoyed the movie. So I think me going into the live action, I'm a little bit more separated than most people from it. So I'm not like a diehard. So I can like look at it as like two separate movies. I can see the quality within them both. That being said, the worst thing about making live action versions of things that already exist is how do you make it so that the first one stands, but the second one also adds life as well.
Yes.
And nobody has quite figured that out yet. Okay, we're still working towards that. And I feel like that's one of the biggest issues with this film. Not only does the CGI and all that kind of stuff because they can't get water, but I think that too. I'm a firm believer that if they was going to make a Black Little Mermaid live action, you should have made Prince Eric Black as well.
I agree.
Or a Prince Eric of color, right? If we're gonna go, let's go, right? Because
they made his parents people of color, but they didn't make him.
No, but he's adopted. Did you guys catch that? He showed up on a ship. Like,
no. Definitely caught that. So technically, he's not even a prince by birth.
I thought that was weird.
So not only did you give us the first Black, Little Mermaid, Black, live action princess, she like a default prince. Well, she's a princess in her own right. Don't get me wrong. She's a princess in her own right because her daddy. But also, it's like she's marrying beneath her station at the same time. But I digress.
Yeah. Doesn't she get a whole swath of the ocean that's like kind of her territory because each mermaid has their own? Yeah. So her kingdom is much larger than his little island. Like,
you feel me?
And he's adopted.
And he don't even really have it. It's an adopted island. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I digress. I will say this. So I'm just saying that to say that Disney in the future, if you're just gonna go because you knew the moment you hired that girl, it was gonna be racial backlash.
Absolutely.
If you were gonna go for it, you should have just went for it and just had two Black people on screen and made this a whole different movie. That being said, I enjoyed the live action. I thought Halle Bailey might be the cutest little thing ever to pop up on the screen as a Little Mermaid. Like the scene where she gets there and she's singing her inner thoughts. That might be one of my favorite moments because it's hard for you to, in animation, you can do that better than you can in live action. Right. So you have to give the audience, she just can't be mute the whole time without us hearing what she got to say in some type of way. So, and I love how the music swells and the moment she tries to talk, it cuts because she can't. I just think that's such great visual storytelling. I love that scene. I'm okay with the animals kind of looking real because if you had all these actual people around and they looked animated or they looked like animated characters, I think that would have thrown me off just a little bit more than just being real crustaceans and stuff in the ocean. I will say 2 hours is a lot. I agree with everybody. Okay. 2 hours was massive, especially when you could have used that 2 hours a little more wisely if you wanted to maybe build up Ariel as a character more instead of relying on the fact that people have seen the animated version. And I think that's the biggest issue. A lot of these. You're like, oh, you've seen the animated, so we can just jump in and speed stuff kind of up, but still slow it down at certain point, and you'll appreciate it. And it's like, no, if you're going to flesh out a character, flesh out a character. If you're going to, like you could have literally made it so that Triton's anger grows every time we see him because she keeps doing stuff that'll make the anger grow, but you kind of just kept him at this baseline, whereas in the animated version, I was afraid.
I thought he might pop off and give her one, he seemed right. So
like geez Louise type of thing because you talk about her mother, but you don't really say anything about her mother. Don't bring her up then if you're not gonna really add some extra stuff about her mother. There are a lot of things about this film that were kind of like, y'all could have did better. But for what it
Yeah.
was, like Ray said, you hit the beats with the songs. The addition of her song, going around when she was in the back of the thing and she's looking at everything she can't stand. I think that's such a cute song. In addition, they tried to give Eric that live action Aladdin moment where Princess Jasmine had like the speechless song. It just didn't hit the same.
That's what
It just didn't hit the same. And people keep saying that he could sing better than what he does sing in that scene.
Okay, well, where was it?
Disney did him dirty. Disney did him dirty. If that was the take that they took and was like, oh, this is solid. This is a solid take. Me personally, if I'd have heard it, we would have cut that scene. That just wouldn't have been. He would have been on the rocks looking sad, and we would have cut to something else. Right?
Right.
We would have just did something else. Go ahead.
I personally would have cut every bit that they didn't need to, other than the scene we talked about where he collects treasures from the ocean, which I thought that was a cute addition. And the song bit where they actually did the fourth verse of Part of Your World that never existed, and they added this new like element. I liked that. I thought that was great because it was but they didn't have to do all the extra new songs. They could have left the Aquafina song out. They could have left the Eric
but see,
song
I
out.
look at it like this.
40.
What Ray talked about with her nieces enjoying it and liking it, 12 out of 10, no notes. They literally made this for kids.
Right.
No,
I don't think any of us
the animated version.
Yeah.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah. Like we're not the target audience at all. That's why I always go into this stuff a little lightheaded, a little bit. But I'm gonna still tell the truth because it's a film, and regardless of who you're making it for, everybody should enjoy it. No matter who you're making it for, everybody should enjoy it. Because Shrek is a movie that's technically made for kids, but everybody enjoys it.
Sure, and it's a
like
family.
I will continue to use. I'll continue to use Maleficent as, for me, the personal benchmark, because we know the character, we know the story, but they were daring in that remake. And that extension to the first and second movie.
And it's PG-13 on top of that too. Y'all
did
y'all thing on that film. Like,
it's like, if you're gonna do it, I think there's a way to do it that doesn't feel like a cash grab. It's like let's do another live action movie, but they didn't take well to the last couple ones we did. Let's make it Little Mermaid because everyone likes the Little Mermaid. But let's make her black because it's 2023. And then let's do we'll flesh it out. And it's like, if they were going to do it, and I appreciate it wholeheartedly that they did cast Halle instead of another white actress, which honestly it would have been fine if they had, because that is something we would have expected of them. If you're going to do it,
right. Anyway, I would, Halle was a surprise, a very nice welcome surprise.
Exactly.
I thought they would have went white anyway. So,
but they could have been more daring. No one said that. We could have had the Part of Your World be the original arrangement, but do new interesting arrangements for some of the other songs, like a cover, if you will. If they were going to do an Eric song, I honestly think it should have been more upbeat and not so dramatic. Because if he's supposed to be this fun, loose guy, he should have had a fun, loose song.
He should have had a Part of Your World type of song, not a...
Exactly. And I don't feel like that's the song that we got for him.
He should have had a Knuff song. You know what I'm saying? He should have had a Knuff song. He should have had a song that
with all the shipmates or something.
For real. If they really wanted to establish his character, right? Instead of his song on the rocks, they could have did it when he was at sea. Right, they could have did it when he was at sea. He loves to be at sea. He loves to be out in the world. Right, that was his whole
choreography
thing, right?
Would have been great.
You know initial scene. They could have had it so that he was on the ship and he could have been singing about how he longs for freedom, and then it could have got intercut with him being like, "You got to go home." Right, and then we could have just started so it gave us a little fleshed out of his character of okay, he doesn't like to be tied
a hard
down.
knock life type of
type of thing. A very chimmery, it's very Mary Poppins-y. It could have been something like that.
Well, and this director did direct Mary Poppins Returns, so he, we're talking about somebody who already had that, but that also is possibly a problem. I didn't watch it because I don't know
where to turn.
The one thing I loved about this movie more than anything was Halle, because I think that she nailed Ariel. She was Ariel. Yeah. She had the mannerisms.
She's the draw.
Her voice is really close.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay, striking. This is amazing. So I didn't
Yeah.
feel ripped off from her. It was the
Yes.
other stuff you guys have mentioned, the length, the like.
Oh,
kind of
agreed.
jarring
No, for sure. She
CGI.
was perfection in this to me. Every
Yeah.
little bobble, every little her figuring out that a fork ain't for your hair, baby. Like I love that they
She
put
rolled it
Jodie
too,
Benson in
like-
here. Like she was. I love they put the
Hmm.
actual voice actress in this as well. So when I saw her, I was like Jodie, and I was remembered I was in the theater, but I had to like calm myself down a little bit.
Right.
But I was happy to see her. I like
Mhm.
there's things throughout this film. Melissa McCarthy. Let me just start there real quick because
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
haven't
talk
even
about her.
covered her.
Melissa McCarthy, baby. Okay, I was a little disappointed. I will say that I was a little disappointed when I first
Okay.
heard. No, not of her performance. When I first heard she was
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
being cast, I was kind of like, y'all could have gave me Queen Latifah. I was like, I think Queen Latifah would have ate this up. I was like,
She
oh, I think
would
she would have ate
have.
this up. I was like, oh, I was like, I get that
As
she
a
did that.
classically trained singer, are you
Right,
kidding?
My
right.
God, I was like,
That
she
would've
would have
been
ate
crazy.
this up, and if you just gave her the direction that y'all needed to, I was like, Queen Latifah would have ate this up. And again, that's
They
a part
gave her
of
the
my
live action performance when they did the television performance.
Yeah, when they
I
did
was
the
like,
television
it
performance,
only makes sense.
makes
Like,
sense that y'all snatched her from there, put her live action, gave her a bigger platform, more orchestral music. It would have been great. But I will say
she
that
would've
to
sang
me,
that down.
that's part of they could have just like really went for it. Like they could have just really went for it and they didn't. But saying that, Melissa, the moment she opened her mouth and I saw her in that first scene,
Yeah.
I said, baby.
Yeah, no, I was impressed.
My God. I said, okay. I said, I see why they did it. I was like, I ain't mad at
The
it.
whole
Yeah,
thing she
I
did
see
with her
why they
voice
did
and everything, like I was like, okay, cool.
Now,
Oh,
I think there
no.
was
Yeah.
some computer effects on her voice at some points to give it a little more guttural feel. That's just my opinion.
I wouldn't
But
be surprised if they did that. I mean,
But
I
it
feel
worked.
like it's all her,
Right.
but there are moments where they might deepen her voice or draw out some things from
But
her
it did
because
work. Yeah.
vocally she can't do that. But I agree, like it worked. I felt like her scenes were the scenes I was waiting to see. If I was waiting to see her and I was waiting to see whatever else Hallie was doing. And let me just this little layup, the young woman that played her that she morphed into,
She was good.
that baby, she deserves some more roles. I need to see her in some more stuff. Cause sis, the moment she was laughing and baby, that little girl, that's an actor.
She
right
came
there.
in so
Okay?
late into
That's
the
an actor right
movie
there.
though. Like
It
it
was
just
just true.
But she was, but it was so
she
good
even
though.
got
She was so
sultry
good though.
for a moment. I was like, whoa, okay. She's like
No, she
wearing
was so good,
lingerie
though.
and like, what is going on here? Okay, she's that was
That
really
scene
different.
of when she's on the chase and you can see Ursula, then when she turns back around, it's the girl she's playing. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it
that's
was
just
good.
good stuff. So they had really good elements to this film. It's just that it just didn't come together. It just wasn't as
Yeah.
cohesive as you would like it to be because it was like, oh, that's great. Oh, why they do that? Oh, that's great. Oh, why they do that? Oh, that's
Yeah,
like
no,
it
it
was
was
too many
like
of
that.
those.
That's a good point. It was like I like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I like this, and it felt that way the
Yeah.
whole way through. And then at the end, you're like,
Yeah.
and I know how it ends. Okay.
And then hearing everything you guys have like brought up, this is exactly why I think personally for me and like Disney projects lately, they're just constantly showing how like they're afraid. Like, you know, like Star Wars projects
Right.
like The Rise of Skywalker, they're just afraid to just go all the way. Like Last Jedi was like, okay, cool, we're trying something. Rise of Skywalker is like, we're scared. And then
That's
there's
the
like Marvel
fan
projects where
backlash,
like,
I would
I'm
say.
scared. Like,
I
but
think
you're
Rise
Disney.
of Skywalker is
Yeah.
like,
Like,
the
this is
reason it
huge.
sucked is because of the fan backlash or because of Last Jedi. 50% of people that
Right.
watch
I mean,
Last
it's
Jedi
not just
hated it.
Disney. I mean, it's a lot of studios that have been
Right.
very vocal about not wanting to push the envelope because they want to reserve and lean more towards what they think will be more profitable. I'm like, people don't want that. Like,
Right.
we want you to do the art. The reason that we loved all of I would say the previous 35 years of Disney movies and stuff like that is because you were taking chances. You were taking chances on telling interesting stories. There's a reason, like, it's not one of my favorites, but people stand Tangled. It didn't work for me, but they're just like, no, we love it. The animation is different and the songs were unique, but this just didn't feel like, it's like, yes, we know the story, and if we wanted to see the original, we would watch the original. If you're going to make a remake, make it unique enough to stand on its
Yeah,
own. And
hit
you
the
made such a
beats.
good point
Yeah.
where it's like when we're watching it, they're banking on us having seen the original, and that's not what they should be banking on. They should be banking on
Nope.
this being a standalone movie. If there's someone who has not seen the original Mermaid, that
Right.
this would blow them away, and I don't think that it would.
Yeah.
Not unless you're just a
No,
huge
I agree.
musical fan. Like if you love musicals, it's like a law. You're gonna
I
love
mean,
this movie
honestly,
because
not
it
even
fits.
then.
I feel like
think so.
not even then, because I'm a person
I
that
love
loves musicals. I'm a person that love musicals.
Yes.
And
But-
even in this,
But you
I
guys
was
have
like,
the original, so I
we
was
coulda
going
did
for a
better with this.
caveat of
No,
never
no,
knowing
I'm
about
only
the
I'm
story.
saying specifically.
I'm speaking. Yeah, I'm speaking how you were talking. Like as a person who like just loves musicals and they haven't seen the other film, I'm not bringing that into my thought process. A person who loves musicals would see this and be like, "What? That Scuttle song? Why would they? I don't think they would like it either because they would have some
They just need
issues
to get
about
Mr.
it."
Miranda to sit down for a little bit. Like he doesn't have to do every musical out there. He just needs to he doesn't
My
need to
thing
be
is
a
this:
part of all of it.
I don't mind if he did every musical, but my thing is this: the same care you took with Moana,
Correct.
Right.
Or
the
Hamilton.
same care that you took with not even really Hamilton, because Hamilton is very Scuttle to me. Hamilton is very,
It's a very
Scuttle
unique
to me.
Yeah.
It's that like okay, like it's
There's
a lot
so
of
many
that
different
type
songs
of
in Hamilton though,
music.
so like some of them I agree with you.
No, I get what you're saying, but I just
think
mean
there's a
more of
Moana
like that
and-
talk rapping type of thing, like that talk
Yes.
rapping that he does a lot. To me, that's Scuttle, that's Hamilton type of thing. Even though I love the
Talk
Hamilton
less.
soundtrack, never seen Hamilton in my life,
Tomorrow.
but I love the soundtrack. I'm gonna watch it one day. But I would feel like
Wait,
they
you've never
just
seen
need
Hamilton?
to like, not at all. No,
I also
like
haven't.
She's
2
heard the
hours or
songs,
something.
but she's never watched the play. is what
I
she's
listen
saying.
to the soundtrack all the time. I love the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Never seen them do a
I
thing. I've seen
cannot with
clips.
them.
Same.
I've seen that's a slow turn, sir. I'm a little hurt. That's a slow turn.
Okay.
I have
So,
seen
like,
Hamilton probably 100 times.
There's a few things
Okay,
I need
that
to see.
seems
A
like a
Goofy
lot.
movie, Hamilton. It's so many
Well, I
things I
wanted to
need to see.
memorize
But I will say this: I wouldn't mind if Lin-Manuel did everything, but I feel like if he took the care that he took with Moana to like the culture that he's in or the music that he's
Or
in,
Encanto,
or
which was
Encanto,
such a
Encanto,
Oh,
unique.
yeah, you
Right,
yeah,
right.
Like,
and take like I feel like if he would have just taken his time, and I won't put it all on him, I'll put a lot of that on
Yeah.
Disney. Okay,
it's on
if
Disney.
he
Yeah,
would
They
have
I
just
hired
agree.
him to
taken
do what
his
he does.
time, right? And I'm like, but fight a little bit more to be like, yo, give me a second. Let's let these breathe. But also,
Because,
like
like-
to Ty's point, maybe he
Yeah.
needs to break his.
I don't know. Sorry, just the Aquafina. It made
I'm
me
just saying, maybe he
discombobulated.
needs a
Like I don't
break.
know who to be
No,
mad at. I
like,
just need
they're
someone.
like, hey, Lynn, we want you to write a song for
Right.
Scuttle because it's Aquafina and she can't sing. So let's do it something that
But they
would make
saying that
sense
she's
for
a
her.
rapper.
And
if you
so
look at her,
he's
like
exactly.
Wikipedia, she's a rapper. She's listed as a rapper, and I was like, since when?
I
When
mean,
did
that's
she
just
rap?
YouTube or whatever.
This is a lie. I
Get
don't care
outta
what
here.
anyone is saying. But
I
it's
agree,
like,
ma'am.
like when we're thinking of it, and I don't want to belabor this, but like again, also as someone who loves musicals, I've seen a lot of different kinds of musicals.
Mhm.
Like when you think of it, like the example I'll give, I won't use Chicago because that was a shooting star, like that was a masterpiece.
No, for sure.
But I'll use Dreamgirls because I've seen the original play, and
Mhm.
all of those actresses killed. Okay.
Yep.
And when they decided to make it into a movie, they took enough care to include the songs that they needed to include, and they included a lot of new songs. And
Mhm.
they made the distinct effort that the characters who are not professional singers to not do more than they needed to do. The
Needed to
characters
do,
who are
yeah.
the professional singers did what they were supposed to do, and their performances of the songs that we know were unique. And so for
Mhm.
this, I think that would have made sense. It's like if you're going to do some of the original songs, then enhance them, and that's where I was kind of talking about the new arrangements, so that it
Mhm.
fits their voices, or at least
Yeah.
gives them more character for a new rendition. And then the new songs, be daring. Like they could have gone in so many directions with some of
No,
those
for sure.
additional
I agree.
songs that they
I
just
agree.
it felt like they were playing safe, and that didn't do this movie any favors.
Well, I
No,
think it's
no,
like you were
to
saying.
your
It
point-
felt that's what made it feel like a cash grab. Like it just.
Right.
they're
Well,
just
yeah.
hitting the
every
beats
one of
that-
these is because they know the
Right.
name. That's anything with even
I mean,
Wonka
I feel like what movie
is a
ain't
cash grab
at
for
this
that
point?
way. But
Right.
to your
What movie
point,
ain't,
Hallie
you know?
does a great job with Part of Your World, but you can
Yeah.
tell she's
She
forcing
does.
her voice to fit it rather than it fitting her voice. And I
Right.
agree with you on that. So,
Yeah, I mean, she has a wide range, and I do think that she was only using part of that range to do the song.
Oh yeah.
I think if they could have catered it more to her
Mhm.
and switched up the arrangement, it could have made that a much more
Mhm.
interesting song. Like, we're familiar with her being in the with the
Yeah.
thingamabobs, and we get it, and like, but
Yeah.
like,
I will
make it
say I think
fun.
her version had more emotion than the animated
Yeah.
version. I feel like her version had more of a cry
well,
to
there
it
was
than the original version.
she choked up a little bit, or
Yeah.
like would come back to talking
Yeah.
almost to
Or like the way she
like
would
you would like if you were
breathe
gonna
before she
cry while singing, you might
yeah.
breath a little or something, and
The
like
way
she
she
had
would
that.
breathe into a song, the way
Right.
she
Yeah.
would be type
Right.
of thing. So it had like more emotion to it. But I agree, if they could have because if you've heard her sing with her sister, if you heard her sing by herself in the songs that she has,
Mhm.
she had her range is stupid,
Yeah.
right? So she can be like very light and like flowy,
Mhm.
and which is very Disney, right? But then she can
Mhm.
also bring it down to like a little bit of a deeper. Also, she worked with Beyonce, and Beyonce has that range too, where she can go a little higher, she can go a little deeper.
Absolutely.
And I feel like if they would have saw that she can hit those like Disney notes, but recognize that she also has her own type of style and flavor and incorporated that into the music that she was given, I think it would have just gave it a new life, instead of us looking at it like, so y'all just gonna take from the animated one, ain't gonna switch it up, they gonna do that different.
Yeah.
All right, cool then. Especially if in those original songs. Now, with the Part of Your World, everybody wants to hear certain things from that song, and if you didn't hit certain notes or go certain places, people would have been all up in arms
I
and be
would
like,
have been
this is
up
why
in
you don't get a
arms.
black
I
person to
agree
do
with
it,
you.
Not Snitty was like, listen, I would have tore this movie down from start to finish. But like, you hit those certain notes. But with the original songs, you could have went a little bit more daring. You could have went a little more fun, or maybe a little bit darker, because this film is kind of dark. You know what I mean?
It
Like
is
Little
darker than
Mermaid
the
was kind of
cartoon for
dark.
sure. Definitely.
You could
Even
have
the tone they set on the bridge of the ship right away is a darker. They're like trying to kill the mermaids. Like, it was definitely a darker tone. All right, we do have another movie that we want to talk about. So
let's get to this movie.
Let's start. I guess we'll start with me again. I'm gonna give this a 6 for effort. Somebody else will like this movie. It's not for me. It's fine. It's good. It does it, but it's still. I will not watch this again. Tyler, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna also give it a 6. I wish it could have. I wish it could have been better. I wish it could have been part of this world.
Which it could have been better. That's hilarious.
But
It's too bad
it
it's a part of
wasn't.
this world.
Disney, like, okay, like, just try, instead of maybe remaking things, maybe just give people opportunities to make new projects. I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe let us tell new stories that don't have
or maybe
to
a continuation,
Or,
maybe
yeah,
maybe
something
maybe
else.
you continue something. Maybe we could have seen their life after, and it could have still been Halle Bailey and this
That could have
person,
been really fun
but
too.
it could have been
Yeah.
like, oh, let's see them give birth to that little girl that we see in Little Mermaid 2 or something like that. I don't know. Like, give me more.
It's too tight a wire for you to walk. Like, I get it. It's hard to make something like this.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I feel
It
you.
is.
Yeah.
Ray, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say the same. My original rating was 3 out of 5, so yeah, 6 out of 10. It was fine.
It was fine. That's a good way to put it. How about you, Love?
I'm gonna be the odd one out. I'm gonna give this an 8. I enjoyed the film for what
Awesome.
it was. I enjoyed like what they gave us. For me, the 8 more so goes towards the actors than it does to
Sure.
like the production of the
Yeah.
film
yeah,
itself.
yeah.
Because I felt like everyone was cast perfectly. I felt like they hit all the beats that their character was supposed to hit. Again, I'm gonna stay on the fact that Eric should have been a black man, because we rarely get to see like
100%.
a black prince or a prince of color with a woman of color or something like that. I think the only time I've seen that is Brandy's Cinderella. Okay, and
Yeah.
that time she wasn't even a princess; she was just like a peasant that kind of, she was just kind of like a lonely, whoop-de-whoop. You know what I mean? However it is, even though she's a princess in her heart, I always say that about Cinderella. But yeah, I give it an 8. I think the actors did what they were supposed to do. and they could have done more if they were directed to do more. Okay, but I give it an 8. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even watch it this time, so I'm not gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
I just remember the film. Okay,
I made it halfway. I was like, I don't need to rewatch this.
This is so
nah,
unwatchable.
nah.
I didn't even rewatch it and will not again. No, I'm kidding.
I'll tell you this much. I'll watch. There are scenes that I'll watch from it if I ever get into the mood to be like, you know what, I really want to see that, hear that song that Halle sang when she was, didn't have her voice, or I want to see the old girl act like, be the sea queen again, because those are scenes that like made me be like, oh yeah, type of thing. But I ain't gonna watch it again. I give it an 8 though. The actors did what they supposed to.
I did like Giant Ursula. I did that, even though we didn't even mention that.
I was worried about that, but it actually was okay.
Yeah, and they kept her like darker and harder to see, which I liked that. Much more menacing, and getting stabbed by a boat. Who wants that? All right, so we're gonna move on to Wonka. This is the third Wonka film, but this is the only another story because one's a remake of the original. And where is this? There it is. This of course stars Timothée Chalamet. And he plays Willy Wonka as he's a young man trying to find his way to becoming a chocolate maker. And it is another musical, but if you've seen the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, that makes sense. There are songs throughout. It is a musical, so to be surprised would be weird. Not like Mean Girls. That's weird that they did that. Who hadn't seen this before? This was my first viewing on this.
My first viewing.
Tyler's first viewing. So Ray has seen this before. Okay.
No, I raised my hand. I was saying I hadn't seen
I didn't
it.
see your hand. I apologize.
Yeah.
So why don't let's start with Ray.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm just gonna be really blunt. It was only worth it to get to the end, to see him sing the song and her reconnecting with her mother. The rest of the movie, like, I was kind of just like playing on my phone, playing on my computer. Like, it was honestly, and I mean this with all due respect, I thought he sounded better than I expected, but the movie overall, mediocre. I don't care. You know what I mean? I didn't, if we hadn't been watching this for this episode tonight, I would never have seen this movie. I had no intention of watching it in the first place. I just had an eerie feeling that it was going to be this movie. You know what I mean? I had a feeling it was just going to be a throwaway. And I talked to my one friend who he did review it. He said he really enjoyed it, which like I totally understand. I mean, it's not a bad movie. It didn't have really the enjoyment. But he basically, like, it's inferred, especially with the last song, that he's supposed to be a young Jean, which I kind of get, that whimsical energy that this is a prequel to Jean's story, which is fine. He is not magical like Jean. I did not get the magic of Jean as a younger him. You know what I mean? This kind of bootstraps feeling that leads to the chocolatier we see in the original. The auxiliary characters, I hated. What is the Keegan's fat suit? Pissed me off.
That was the one thing. Yeah.
The suit just kept getting bigger and bigger and more fake. And I was like, there is no reason that why did we have this? And I understand the purpose of fat suits and I appreciate them for storytelling purposes in certain situations. Like, because I think we mentioned Brennan's fat suit and the whale, and that was fine. There was no one expected him to put on another 150 pounds. He shouldn't have for his health. I understood the point there. This was simply for comedic purposes, and I hated it. We could have gotten to the fact that they were paying him in chocolate in another way than what they were doing, than the suit itself, which was just distasteful. I like the characters in the laundry room. Olivia was honestly, I did not think she gave a huge compelling Olivia performance the way that she does. I think that she could have gone super harder had they written that character better. I think it was an interesting new character for this story. I was 100% underwhelmed, and I'm sad about that because I actually like the character of Willie. And I know we talked about it in the chat and we were like joking, but like I think Jean's version had a very specific, beautiful charm. And Johnny's being by Tim Burton did exactly what it needed to do. And I love the Johnny version for being crazy and so outside the box. Like no one, they're like, this is what you did to this guy. I'm like, it makes so much sense that it's off the wall. You know what I mean? His grandpa dancing, like that made sense for that to be the whimsical, unexpected. This was not far enough off the edge. I just wish that they would have cared more. I don't know.
All right. How about you, La? What did you think of Wonka?
Can I make a suggestion and have Ty go first?
Sure.
Ooh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I kind of liked it though, so I don't know.
That's I see. I want Ty to go first.
I'm over here like sitting like
this. So
Okay, go. Yeah.
Well, this is gonna work out perfectly. So go ahead. Yeah, this is gonna work out perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's just because like the emotional state I'm in right now, but like I mean, I was buying everything except the Keegan thing. That's the part that I was kind of like, all right. I mean, other things you could have done, but we went with that. That's not fine, but whatever. Like, just whatever. Move past it. He wasn't a big part. I thought the musical numbers were great. I did like how they changed up Pure Imagination. That's what I think. I wish the Little Mermaid would have maybe done, because it worked with Timothy. He's not like the greatest singer, but it worked. Like, I thought it worked really well. I did see that the cinematographer is the guy who did he worked with Park Chan. He did Old Boy. He did Stoker, the one that we also reviewed on here. So it was really nice to look at. Yeah, Last Night in Soho. So I was like, that
it
makes
was
sense.
beautiful. I will say that it was
Yeah.
beautiful. Yes.
And even sometimes when the CGI would look off, it kind of just worked with the world for the most part because they established it pretty well, I felt.
Sure.
What else was I going to say about it? Yeah, Timothy is fine. I think he's fine. I think what was missing for me was sort of kind of like what you were saying. I think the thing with Jean's performance or even Johnny Depp, there's that element in Wonka that's he's kind of off. There's something off about it. This one didn't have that enough, I think. They kind of go into it he doesn't read or whatever, or he's kind of goofy, but it just didn't go past that. There's an element where hey, he's kind of off his rocker, guys.
Can I? Can I?
I almost wish
for that.
Yeah,
because I think that being a prequel and we're at least 20 years previous to anything we see.
Right. That's
He's spending a lot of time in a chocolate factory with nothing but Oompa Loompas. Wouldn't you start to get kind of weird after a while?
Right. That's true. That's why I was also kind of maybe because it is a prequel.
Prequels are weird like that. They're hard because of that.
That's why I did the one element of this Oompa Loompa not being real kind of to anyone but him for a little while, until they revealed that it's really the little orange man with the green hair. Then it was okay, so people can see him. He's not completely crazy. He's the Oompa Loompas exist. Which I mean, I guess you would have to if it is technically the prequel to the original.
Right.
I don't know what that actress's name is, but what is her name? The little girl.
The young girl.
Yeah.
Kayla.
Noodle. Yeah, the whole
She
element,
was really cute.
Yeah. All the way to the end, with the mom and everything. I teared up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I cried at that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm it was worth it for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I cried, man. I was like,
I did watch
it.
This
End without her getting with her mom. It can't.
Did you guys watch this one before Little Mermaid? Because I watched it before.
I watched it before as well.
I just watched it today.
Okay.
I just watched it today. Yeah, me too.
And I think that's what maybe I was harder on the Little Mermaid because of Wonka, because there was just certain things in it that that's what I felt a modern day musical adaptation of something should sort of
interesting. Okay.
Sort of be more if you're gonna try to do something different, for the most part.
Right.
Haven't seen Paddington, so sorry if anyone
I haven't seen that yet either.
Yeah, everyone's been talking about.
I will.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Listening to what you're saying, I think what I translate as I wanted to be whimsical, actually felt campy. Like I get the strings and they were flying and like I got that part, and it kind of had that similar sound stage feel, like the Brandy Cinderella, like how it's, you know what I mean, that they was a very choreographed through a preset, like they were hitting their marks, and I like that part in this I kind of got, but I wanted it to be more ethereal than more orchestrated. I don't know how to describe that. Do you know what I mean? Like it
Right.
just seemed more camp, over the top. Like it was expected. Like the fact that people were flying, like I kind of would have been like, I would have liked a more like eerie feeling, because where like the Gene version is very whimsical, it is also very eerie.
Especially
You
the
know what I mean?
tunnel
The
scene.
people don't, they're
Yeah.
not in on it. They
Right.
don't know
Right.
what's happening. And this, where it's like, we've eaten chocolate our entire lives. We're chocolatiers.
And nobody
I
flies.
have never had chocolate make me
What
fly.
are we doing?
What did you exactly?
Yeah.
They just didn't seem alarmed enough for it to
Right.
be the whimsical. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, something is. It was like, I don't
You're
know.
right, you're
Sorry,
right.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
No, that's all I have to say. I agree too. I think the more that I'm hearing your guys' stuff, like that's where I'm kind of at with the movie, is like this in between of like it's not quite where they could have gone, but it was enough, I think.
I
kinda,
liked
like-
that they flew and nobody cared. Is that weird? I like that because
Yes, it's weird.
I don't mind a
I'm kidding.
world where people just accept things that are out of the ordinary. It's a weird world already. It has, the whole world is kind of quirky in the Willy Wonka
Well, and I think
world,
that's
so-
what I think that's why I'm okay with it, because they establish the rules of the world. Like if everyone's sort of accepting, then that's the rules of the world. Like as long as they were consistent about it. for
And
the
we
most
know
part.
that Wonka's chocolate makes people float, or at least his fizzy drink does. Sorry, we know that
Right.
his food does have a profound effect on its users.
But it should wear people out. Like if that's the first time that you're experiencing this chocolate, that
Maybe
makes you fly.
Maybe I don't
Like
know.
they conveniently they were under a building where there was a roof. Like I wanted to see maybe feel like, oh my god, like we're flying. He's like, oh yeah, they'll come down eventually. Like will they? Will they Wonka?
Right.
I don't know. Like
Will they Wonka? That was great. That was
will they-
Because that's what that's what my mind was thinking. Like if this wasn't in some type of like enclosed, because we could see the glass above them. Like
right.
if that wasn't there and it was some type of an open air street and they weren't holding on to that flagpole, how long would they fly? How hard would they crash? Like in my brain,
Terrifying.
the
right.
the whimsy of it is the not knowing. Because it's like, what's in this that's making me fly? It's such a really dry way to the fact that what did you give me? You know what I mean? Like, have I been drugged? And they're growing, and I kind of get the establishment of the world, and they're all growing hair because they put whatever that was in the chocolate. And sorry, go ahead.
no, you're
No, like
good,
I wanted
La.
that.
What did you think, La?
Wonka a menace.
Love it.
So I did a reaction to this. I don't think it's safe though. But
damn.
yeah, because I think it was too long for my computer to process.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so this movie was only like under 2 hours. It was like maybe
Just-
like an
just
hour,
short.
like
Yeah.
59 or something
56.
like that. It
Yeah.
felt like 2 hours plus. The pacing of this film, I was like, when will it end? I was like, it has to end. I felt like there was so much in this film
I
that they
kept checking the
didn't need
time,
to
which
have.
I hate doing.
My God, listen, I started this
Yeah.
film at like 11:35. It didn't end until 1:25, and I thought it was like 1,000 hours. I was like, what? I was like, what?
Yes.
I'm like, what's happening? And mind you, because I'm doing a reaction, I have to be like zoned in. Mind you, there were a couple
Yeah.
of times where I was like, who this actor?
Right.
Was on my phone. Oh, okay. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Who that actor? Like, I was like, there was
Patsy
times where I
does
was in and
that
out of it.
all
Okay.
the time, and I'm always like, wait until after the
Listen.
movie. Wait.
No,
No, I
that's
have
my
to know
girl.
now.
Shut up. I need to know now.
Like, wait, am I
that's not
watching
what we're gonna do.
Dune? Is this Dune?
Because
or
I
is this
won't be
Wonka?
watching the movie. I'll just be in my head thinking about who that actor is. This is what I'm
Correct.
doing. Timothy Chalamet, he sings himself. It was okay. They said that they gave this man the role without an audition because of because of seeing like his high school performances on YouTube, which proved his vocal and dance skills. So he did not have an audition. Now, that being said, I wasn't mad at the dance skills because they weren't that elaborate. Okay. And if he couldn't catch those, what can you catch? I wasn't mad. Also, him and Tom Holland was was back and forth.
I'm
Who's
glad
gonna
it
get this
wasn't
role?
Tom
They were
Holland.
both like the considered.
Are
Honestly,
you?
Tom Holland
'Cause
probably
I'm
would have killed
not.
this.
He would have been doing backflips and
Listen,
We
the
don't
way that
need
Tom
a
Holland
That-
dances,
Spider-Man flipping
His
around.
agility
Ah.
and performance style, he is a
Moment-
trained dancer. That would
dancer,
have
he would have
taken this
been.
movie to the next level.
I
It would
personally
have.
think
It
it
would
should have been
That's what I'm
Jeremy Allen
saying.
White, but that's just me.
No.
He looks exactly like
don't see
Gene,
Lip doing
Gene
this.
It
Wilder,
doesn't
like-
matter if he looks like
Exactly.
Gene. That isn't the
I know.
point.
And he's a
The
great actor. He's a
performance-
great actor.
No, yeah, but I don't really
performance of
see this
Gene.
from him. I don't see this from
Yeah.
him. I
you
agree
watch-
with Ray as
I don't
as
know.
this character was supposed to be Gene's, like who Gene was before. So I get that he's like full of whimsy and full of, he doesn't know the world. He can't even read. So he just relies on people being nice to him. Those are good little storytelling moments for you to understand why he's always smiling and like, okay, you said it's okay, so I'll do this, and however it is, like that stuff makes sense. I like his growth throughout it, that he realizes that people are trash, and now I gotta start doing things a little bit differently. I enjoyed that from his character. The fat suit, I didn't really have a problem with the fat suit because I yelled out to the camera, he gonna get fat. Like I yelled it out to the camera because I yelled it out to the camera because they kept harping with, and I don't like when they keep telling the audience stuff. We get it. You pay people in chocolate. You don't have to keep saying
The
it
whole number was
over
like a
and
lot.
over and over
Yeah.
again that you pay people in chocolate. We get it. So, and I'm like, y'all, chocolate ain't even that good compared to Wonka's, and everybody eating it up. But okay, I digress. But here's I knew he was gonna get fat. When he got like a little fat, I was like, they did it. But when he got like really fat,
Couldn't
I was
get out of
like,
the car.
they did it too much.
Yeah.
I was like, they did it too much. Like when
Couldn't
he
get
bent on
up
his
on the ground?
when he bent on his knee and you heard the ground go boom. I was like,
yeah, not the sound
I'll-
team like ready
you
for
know,
that.
I was like,
oh.
okay.
Oh.
I enjoy seeing Slugworth in his beginnings because we only really get to hear about Slugworth. We don't even really see him. I think we really see like his minion, that's like popping up and stuff. Like to get that background on Slugworth was nice. The story with Noodle was super cute. Again, a kind of unnecessary, might be the best thing about the movie. But again, I'm with Ray when it comes to, I would say the whole time I was watching it, I was just kind of like, that's nice.
That's a great face that you gave.
His
Like,
coat
there
was
wasn't-
pretty. Like, I don't know.
The
It
colors,
That
the
was- yeah,
cinematography, like
So
those things were
pretty.
beautiful. For me, Olivia Colman was like a poor woman's Miss Hannigan. She felt like old girl from Despicable Me that put the girl in the timeout box or whatever. like she was along those lines. There was nothing really dynamic or different about her. I felt like she played those old ratty English women that they always portray in movies like this. That's like doing anything dirty for a buck. There wasn't anything really different about her. Like there was nothing.
Yeah.
And also, where did they get their hands on Yeti sweat to poison his stuff?
Don't get me
When
started.
it's really been established that Wonka is the person that goes to different countries and gets these different things that nobody has ever heard
You
about.
just had that
in their
flown
life.
in. You were ready to make that
You
call
just had
quickly.
that. You just had it.
It's a
Like-
giant component within the washing industry in their world. So of course they do.
You know what, Snitty? You right. I missed that part. I did like
I'm
the people that he was like the
headcanoning
washers
my
and
way
everything
through
that he was with. Hey man, you're ahead of the game because I'm sitting here like, what? And then you poison yourselves trying to get rid of the evidence, the smarts of these people.
What
which
was wrong
I
with
get
the
that was
drain?
done for
Like,
like
I didn't understand that one either.
there was nothing
Right.
wrong with the drain. There was nothing wrong with it, even though y'all was going to jail anyway. But that being
Right?
said,
We had to
This
see
film
them get their
felt very-
comeuppance. That's what that was.
yeah.
Because
they
plot,
could have did it.
yeah.
To me, their comeuppance would have been very like Ever After, where they would have to work and clean the stuff. To me, that would have been their comeuppance. Their comeuppance would have been those people
dog
that
barking
you
at 'em,
had
right?
your slaves. Yeah, the people that you had as your slaves, they would have become the owners of this place, changed the names, and you would have worked for them. Like, to me, that would have been a comeuppance. But y'all going to jail and we really get to see y'all behind bars ain't really a comeuppance. Your face turning blue and your hair kind of grown. Oh, I hear my echo. Not really a comeuppance to me. I think it's headphone died. I think it's headphone died. Not really a comeuppance for me. I think Timothy aesthetically on camera is beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
He has moments. He has moments where when he's smiling, he's happy. That's a great moment. Where he's a little down, like when he was sad and he wanted to like see his mom before he opened it up, and his mom is the reason for the golden ticket. I thought that was a beautiful scene.
Oh
when
yeah,
he finally get to see his mom. I'm like, shout out to Sally Hawkins, because Shape of Water, we gotta watch that, y'all. Like, that's my movie.
The way she
She's an Academy Award winner. So.
Yeah, the way she caught the kiss, and was just like,
she could only do it that way. Like,
listen. No facts. Like I felt like that was a beautiful scene. Again, this felt kind of like Little Mermaid to me. There were moments where I was here. There was moments when I was here. There was moments I was here. Overall, I 100% agree with Ray. This was an okay film. It could have went without being made. If we weren't doing it for the podcast, I probably wouldn't have watched this, even though it was on my list to watch. But baby, I wouldn't have got to it no time soon.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got to it no time soon. And the things they thought were funny weren't funny. Like the guy gagging every time somebody said "poor."
Oh my god!
I was
the fact that it kept
I laughed
going.
my ass off at that. Yeah, I love that.
I laughed. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. The first time he did it, it caught me off guard, and I was like, "That's stupid."
Right.
But it kept going, and I was just kind of like,
the other guy, like the third chocolatier who played the twins and
Matt Lucas, yeah.
Oh, and Willy
played the
Wonka,
twins.
yeah.
Matt Lucas,
and I was
Alice
like,
in Wonderland, yeah.
Oh, Alice in Wonderland, sorry.
Like you did your thing in that.
Yeah,
feel like you're not doing
yeah.
your thing in here. You know what I mean? Like,
honestly, I felt like they didn't give him. He always plays like dumb, dim-witted characters.
Yeah,
that barely have like lines. He was literally like the person that just repeated what somebody else said. Like somebody said something under the radar, he'd be like, "Because we want to kill them," and they're like,
it's giving echo. Like, please stop.
No, for sure. And it's like, I love
that.
Matt Lucas. Like, I loved him in Doctor Who. I loved him in Alice in Wonderland. Like, I love this actor. And I felt like you didn't really give him anything. Although there was a couple of Doctor Who actors in there. I was like, all right, who cast
like
this?
I feel like sometimes like that, where they like want to fill out the cast and they want to do it with people with faces you've seen. And it's like,
yeah.
But if you're gonna do that, don't waste them. Like Olivia Colman, you're gonna waste her? I feel like a waste. Like, because it could have gone, like when I think about how menacing that character could have been, which she could have done.
Oh my God.
I wanted to be afraid of her and I was not, you know, like the fact that she was, and it kind of pairs with the fact that she was going to screw him over anyway, and that he could contract is null. That's not the point. The point is that she was menacing, walking him up the steps, and I'm thinking to myself, that was a charge for that, but you walked me up the stairs, and I'm thinking about, but he's like, okay, so what do I owe you? There was no fight. Why aren't we fighting? You know what I'm saying?
She could have been a Miss Trunchbull type of on a
exact image I had in my mind. Yes, that's what I was like.
She could have been Miss Trunchbull, and they didn't give her or allow her the space to be Miss Trunchbull. They kept her within this like PG-13 comedic style
whoever
that they wanted her to be in.
Yes.
Listen, when he came out in the dungarees, baby, I was like, this is the best scene in the movie.
You guys watched The Favorite with her, like that Yorgos Lanthros movie? Like, I think I watched it like literally a couple days ago, and like watching this performance, I was like, damn, what a missed opportunity, dude. Like, I don't know what they were doing. Like,
I'm about to check that out then.
So
you said
The Favorite has Emma Stone, and
go ahead.
I'm going to defend this movie more than I thought I would. I thought that I would come in going middle of the road, but the more I hear you guys talk about it, the more I'm like,
I love it.
but I liked those aspects. So my favorite part of the film was the background actors. So all of the people in the wash, all of the antagonists, the chocolatiers. I liked everybody that wasn't Wonka. I think Chalamet did fine, but that's where I stopped. Like, he did fine. He didn't. I don't hate his portrayal. It didn't bother me, but I wasn't like enthralled with it until the end. But every other background character kept me enthralled. I really liked what Matt Lucas and Patterson Joseph and Matthew Baton did as that trio, because you don't get 3 antagonists most of the time in movies. You get one with a henchman, and these guys were, sure, we know that Joseph's character, or I'm sorry, Patterson's character was the main, Slugworth was the main guy, but it still was like a trio. This is very Roald Dahl. Like, this is very much in his world. And I've liked this more than other modern adaptations of his, like The Witches. I did not really like the adaptation that they did with Anne Hathaway. And I felt that this was better by far than the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, which I cannot stand on any level. I absolutely hate that film, and almost everything about it. And I knew I'd get a double ditch on that one. But it's just,
I will say I can't defend you on that end. I'm sorry.
I saw it in
feelings
theaters.
are yours.
I know. I saw it in theaters.
No, facts.
It's there's a Tim Burton threshold that I have, and it's Sleepy Hollow. Anything after Sleepy Hollow, I'm gonna have a lot of problems with. I will not watch Oz. I think it was terrible. I did not like Alice in Wonderland. I didn't like Alice in Wonderland 2. I thought they were all like really bottom of the barrel CGI, just crap fests. Like, I absolutely atrocious. I hated them.
The second Alice in Wonderland a little bit.
All of them. Anything Tim Burton made since Sleepy Hollow is the way I feel about that. And I'm sure he'll have a redemption. I'm hoping Beetlejuice 2 will be that redemption, but I have no high hopes because he has driven me off the deep end with his filmmaking. So for me, this redeems Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and actually makes me feel a little better. And the complaint, because I'll give you my complaints. Like I said, Chalamet's, whatever. He's lukewarm. He's fine. But the honest to God part that I hate about the film is that it's a prequel. I can't stand prequels. I think prequels are the worst thing that ever existed in cinema because your main character, who is your arc, has no stakes. We know that Willy Wonka is not going to die in a chocolate factory before he becomes Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. Like, that's just never going to happen. So it just destroys the stakes that you would have in a movie where normally you're like, does he die? Now, of course, I don't know if Noodle dies, but then it's also a kid's movie. So like, she's not going to die. So that's where I got lost in it, is towards the end, as far as
I fundamentally
actual,
disagree. This is not the moment we should have the discussion about prequels, because if you tell a good story, it doesn't matter when in the timeline of that universe it is told.
Agreed.
I don't care that I've seen the Gene version, but if this was a good prequel, then it doesn't matter what the stakes are in the future.
For me, it's always that way. I don't know, like, because Wonder Woman had a prequel and I didn't care because every time she was in danger, I knew she wouldn't get hurt. Like, it can't happen. That's the part of it.
I mean,
the stakes
but
are
Wonder
removed.
Woman, though.
No, I know, but even like that's what I'm saying.
Really
Willy Wonka may not be like supernatural, but we know that he's still human and can die. So putting him in peril it's irrelevant. Like, there is no peril you can put him in that I would care about. You could put him on the moon, I wouldn't care because I know he's coming back. So that's my problem with the film, regardless of course. Wow, even my wife got in on that. Okay. Okay. Wow. I can't not like Tim Burton, apparently. That's it's against the rules of the wife, I guess. To be clear,
you didn't
I
see
love
or
Tim
like
Burton,
Big Fish. You didn't do Sweeney Todd. Nothing?
I hated
Fish
Sweeney
was
Todd.
good. I
I absolutely hated Sweeney Todd. Yeah, I hated it. It's so incredibly boring.
This is gonna be my last
Incredibly not
episode, guys.
good.
This is gonna be my last.
Wow. It's so because I have a small list of films.
Okay, real quick. I just gotta interject.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I just gotta interject.
But I like this overall. I think it was okay.
Listen, you not liking Tim Burton, that's that's neither here nor there. That's
Totally.
fine. I get it. His aesthetic ain't everybody's aesthetic.
He's
You
not-
might not like something.
I'm not a stan
He's
by
not
any
everything.
means.
You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? I'm not a stan by any means because of what he said. You know, he ain't gonna put no black people in his up, but still, you know, like I ain't gonna defend the man, okay? Because I don't, you know, for that alone. But I'm gonna cry a little bit. Sweeney Todd, sir. I could probably let you pass. I can let you pass with like Alice in Wonderland. You know what I mean? The second one in particular, maybe the first one, I can't really let you pass. I'm gonna let you pass.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let you. But I'm gonna let you pass. But Sweeney Todd,
I've given it 2 solid chances.
Sweeney Todd is
so boring. It's so boring.
When I tell you, I had that
Click.
on repeat, and it's
That's
a disc,
awesome.
y'all. You don't
That's
really
awesome.
repeat discs.
I put Sweeney Todd at the same level as I put Repo as a bad musical.
What?
Okay, can we rate the movie? Like,
No.
honestly, I don't have any more to give.
Wait,
That's
is this
all I
has-
have.
Is
I'm
this
sorry.
free?
That lets me know
It
that you
is.
just don't know
It's
musicals.
okay,
You don't know
okay,
musicals,
okay.
sweetie. It's okay.
I
Yeah,
never
'cause it was
claimed to be a
90s
musical
musical.
fan. I said I like some
No,
musicals.
I know,
like, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
But you saying that you put Sweeney Todd with Repo, the musical, lets me know
The
that you
production is
don't know
better.
musicals.
I mean, you know, the production is better, but I can't stand
My
musicals
soul
like
is
that.
on
This is what I said. Like
fire right now.
musicals that
I
have that
can't
kind of
think.
like
My
I don't know.
brain is
My
mush.
heart,
Right.
my heart
it-
hurts
what
in
are
a
you-
way that I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, so getting back onto the
birds.
subject,
I'm
Aina comes,
virgin.
Aina
You know what
comes
I'm
with a good point. I
He has
don't
to hold the
understand
virgin
if we're talking
of
about
this.
Wonka. I don't understand how he goes from this cheery, lovey, very bubbly Wonka to a curmudgeon, right? That we see in the film.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
what happens to him? Why is he so jaded with humanity? Nothing in this film made me think he'd be jaded with humanity because there's still half the people were great and very kind to him. So what can we
But
get
I
a
mean,
sequel?
That, my
to
friend,
this?
you know they're gonna make a sequel.
I
They're gonna
mean,
make
a
sequel.
Yeah.
whole group of people burnt down his shop without hearing him out and just immediately
Yo,
burnt
cutting
down
the
his shop.
chandelier was unhinged. I was
Yeah, I
like,
know.
Do you understand me? I said, baby, it's still people
what
in
is
here.
going on?
I said, it's still people in here.
I
But see,
low-key
to
like
me,
that because it
to
was
me,
wild,
that's my
like-
point. No, it is wild, right?
That was
For sure.
unexpected,
It was
for real.
wilder than anybody could ever.
That was
But that's what I
unexpected.
get with Ray. But that's what I get with Ray, right? For me, this world didn't establish that it's whimsical at all. This world established that it's quite grounded. They have
Correct.
cops, and we have a cartel, and this is what we do.
Yes.
We eat candy, and people do like this. So to have somebody like Wonka, as bright as he is, come into like this dull world, floating on balloons and making people float into the air and stuff like that.
Milking giraffes.
That would, you know what I mean? That would make me kind of be like, what he putting in this chocolate that we don't know about? Because
Correct.
these 3 chocolatiers that we love can't do this, hasn't done this,
Correct.
don't understand it. Now, if they would have did something different, because like in the Gene Wilder one, when they were like the fizzy pop, if you belched, you came down very nicely.
Yes.
Okay, with these hover crocs or whatever you
You
want to
gotta
call
wait for
them,
the bird
you
or the
popped
critter
your
to come out of
voice.
your butt.
You went right up into the sky. Do I come down just as fast? So like, I believe that there was whimsy in this. It was just they didn't think about it. They didn't think about it as hard as I would feel like the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory thought about theirs, or even Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thought about the things that happened to the kids on that. Like, it still made some type of sense, but it was still weird and still kind of like unexplainable. Whereas in this one, y'all on rooftops floating on balloons, and my man's is like, "Oh, that dude you looking for, he up there." Like, it.
Oh,
Y'all okay with this?
okay.
good?
Well, yeah. Wait, I will say the part where they float up, there was mention of farting, and they never did it. I'm just that lost a little point for me. That right there. Perfect opportunity for fart
the
jokes
Oompa
and
Loompa,
shenanigans
the
with
Oompa
farts.
Loompa farted. The Oompa Loompa farted, and it transitioned into like the smoke
Yes,
from the shit.
yes.
So
Sorry.
I'm saying
So,
there is a fart in there. So
There are
just
other
if you wanted
elements
to,
that we
I
didn't even
was
get
like,
into.
I'm in.
What about Wonka's like his like portable warehouse or his portable factory? Like, you can open it up and make chocolate on the go. Like,
I love that.
I love all
like
these
that.
little intricate things.
Yeah, I like that because my thing is how else would he create chocolate
Right.
before having a chocolate factory? He would have like a mini factory,
Right.
and I love that it was a case that would like lent it to storytelling,
Yeah.
like how they were flipping the pages and it turned into like a story, and that was like old schooly type of camera because it had like the cut up like film and stuff like that over their
We had
faces.
like lightning in a bottle.
There were-
and, like
Yeah,
really cool
lightning
stuff.
in a bottle, and then like
Yeah.
that when you ate it, it gave her an idea, like it gave her a silver lining. Well, maybe I like the callback to the double Hans because I knew that when he said Han, he was gonna say Han again.
The
There are
light
beautiful
bulb
elements.
that was literally a real
The
light bulb.
above
I
his
thought that was
head.
cute. That's
It's-
what I mean. Like, I
No,
like
there
these
are
little elements.
moments of this film that are very beautiful. That's very quirky. That have its moments. But I was waiting for them to let us find out how he a magician like this. Like, where did he learn this type of magic? Because if you go back to Gene Wilder, if you go back to Johnny Depp, they were magical too, but they weren't really that magical. That boy had like he was a wizard.
Correct.
Wonka.
I'm
Really,
a
you're a
wizard.
wizard. Like,
I'm a wizard, Willie. Is that what you'd say?
like no, like for real, like that's what it felt like. So I was like, okay, it's a prequel. So you showed him going to like Oompa Loompa Land and taking the cocoa beans. Where did he learn this magic? Where did was his mother magic? Like,
Well,
tell
he's
us that
traveled the
he's
world,
like.
so somewhere. I mean, he obviously picked it up.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to make it a prequel, kind of add your own little elements because Noodle don't exist in any of the movies. Them other people don't exist. The Scrubbits in them don't exist. These things are elements that you added. Add a little bit more layers to his background and show us that like maybe he does descend from like Merlin or some actual magic that helps infuse his candy because it's wild that he's the only one that can make
his
candy
mom's
like
chocolate
this.
that did it.
It could be, but I also love that his mom made chocolate. To me, that was a good little addition.
Yeah.
But again, this felt like Little Mermaid, where there were moments of height, and then there were moments where you were down. There were like, oh, that's a nice, and then it just wasn't where I needed it to be.
I want to say like hearing this now and like thinking of like Noodle's character, I think maybe not even unfortunately, but I think because they were trying to run his origin story and like with his mom and stuff in parallel with Noodle's character, the focus became so much that we lost. Like, I wish we had more like when he brought the candy out with the little lightning, like more of that stuff, like the cool like whatever his like creations and stuff would have been cool. But I think because they were so focused on the storytelling with running his story parallel to Noodles, because that was the focus.
Had to
I
have
think
the Noodle character.
there to
be any stake.
It may or may
they
not
had to
have been
a
to his
Charlie.
detriment. Like,
they had to have a Charlie before Charlie, right? Because it makes sense that he wants a kid to take over his factory, and you can attribute that to him meeting Noodle and getting to know her and seeing how innocent and sweet and selfless she is. He knows that adults aren't like that because people tried to come in and steal his stuff. Slugworth been messing with him since the jump, and throughout it been trying to send in people to steal from him. So like he needed to find a kid with his sensibilities, and then he found that in Noodle. So I can see where that of his character comes in, but because I don't think he dislikes kids. I think he dislikes like, bad kids.
Right.
I think he dislikes
he's Santa Claus.
like arrogant bad kids. Yeah. And his lump of coal is, you get put up a chocolate tube or
we're gonna turn you into a giant blueberry. Right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Things like that.
Sounds all fair, you know what I mean? Like, well, that's what I
shout
mean.
out to old girl though. She hella flexible. I'm jealous.
Wonka is a menace. Like there was moments like that's why I like the element of like the ending specifically when the cartel people were flying up. He's like, they'll come down maybe sometime like that.
Maybe
but I was
not.
like, we should got more of that during the movie. Like he's a menace. Like,
but I feel like that was the start of his of him being a little bit more of a menace.
Right.
Because they were menaces to him, right? Like he started off very innocent, but also I feel like you waited too long to give us that spark of him. Right. Like you could have I agree with Ty. You could have the more that he kept seeing that these people kept throwing these curveballs his way. Okay, I'm very clever. Let's get clever then. Like I would have liked the start of that in the middle of the movie for him to be a little bit more of a small menace. Because think about it, him learning how to him creating the thing for the dog and them escaping was a little bit of a menace. It was a touch.
He was
because
a menace
he's
to the
sneaking
police
out,
and to the antagonist.
Right, he's getting them to come out. He's figuring out how to jump down, drains and stuff like that. But when it got to the part where he was just kind of they might come down, they might that felt like Gene a little bit. You know what I mean? If they would have had a little bit more of that towards the middle to the end, I think it would have just hit a little bit better. Yeah,
that's fair. Why don't we go ahead and rate
had to go.
Wonka and talk about next week, and we'll go from
Alrighty.
there. Let's start with Ray, because we started with Ray on this movie. What do you rate Wonka? Three, four,
It's just the face.
three, four, 5.
3 out of 5 stars.
So a 6. That's not the worst.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
No.
3 out of 10 stars. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
3
I
out of
meant
10.
to say-
Yeah. Half that.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah, I
pretty
was
three
like,
out of 10
that's not what
stars.
she.
Oh.
I said that's not what she meant at all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for answering.
Yeah.
3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. All right.
Well, 1 star. Yeah.
1.5. Is that one? That's 1.5 stars, I think. Something
It's
like
what is like 1 out of 5. 3 stars. I'll give it 3. That's as much as I can do.
that. All right, La.
I'll give it a 6.
6 out of 10.
I'll give it a 6. I'll never watch it again, and this goes for the beauty of it. This goes for how like the cinematography of it. I can't knock it. The actors did what they were supposed to do. I enjoyed Noodle as a character, even though I felt like she was a little flat at times. But
For sure.
I liked where her story ended. I liked that we got to see where everybody else's stories ended because we was with them the entire time. You better give me the payoff of showing me where all these
The
people
least,
went.
right?
You know what I'm saying? The least you can do is show me where all these people went. Also, I'm a little, you know what? I take that back. I give it a 5. As I'm talking about it because
She's
I'm
just
sorry.
cranking it down, lowering it as we talk.
I know, right? I'm sorry. Because Lofty is the only Oompa Loompa that he gets. How does he get the rest if they don't
Right.
like him?
Well, we're gonna tell you
He's
about
gonna
it.
he's gonna show them that he has more than 4 cocoa beans. Like he has 40 of them or 1,000. That'll
I
convince
don't know.
them
They
to
should have
show up.
showed that. They didn't show that.
Yeah, except in the
didn't show
original
that.
book, he goes and takes pygmies, all the pygmies from one particular tribe, and kidnaps them and brings
And
them.
takes them right, and takes
so,
them
like,
back.
it's a very
This one
rewrite that a little
followed
bit.
him because he was punished. But how? Where else are we going? How do you get the rest of them? But
I
go
was
ahead, Ty.
just 1, now I am 3, and then they just keep multiplying. And Ooh, little Oompa Loompa babies. I don't know. All right.
I know, right? He asexual. He's like a C, like a
Screw
C.
it. The
a
second one
C+.
rated R. I don't know.
I'm here for it.
My rating was a little higher, but after this discussion, it was like an 8. But
Ray was like
Willie, it's like a 7 now. Like,
hilarious.
Willy.
you know what I'm saying? Willie. Yeah, I mean, I still enjoyed it. Maybe on the second go, I'll probably start being like, oh, all right, well, maybe on the third go, I'll be like, oh, okay. Paul Atreides. Okay, I'm done.
It's funny because my rating was lower coming into this, and is now
Now he
raised,
pushed it up.
which
I
isn't
love
usually the
it.
case, but it has.
love it.
And now I want to go back and I want to rewatch it. I did find some of the songs to be kind of catchy. I never even mentioned, I love Bleacher, that character. He reminds me of Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords, but like a much bulkier version of him.
Oh,
Bulkier
yeah,
one,
yeah.
He even has like that same kind of mannerisms in the way he talks. And I loved that ridiculous love story between them that was fake but real. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's simple. This movie
I'd have been like,
is
we
simple,
helped you find love, girl. You better give me my freedom. What you
Right.
mean?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
But also, I called
I
this
know.
film. I called this film a lot in my reaction. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna happen. Oh, she's related to somebody in his family.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a this.
She
oh,
had to be.
I
yeah.
called it a lot, and if I called it a lot in your film, you didn't write it good enough for me. If I can call it.
Also, if you watch Bob's Burgers, it kind of like just saying a little bit. It was already kind of done. I don't know.
Well, we all know every screenplay's already been done. They
That's
just
true.
tweak here, tweak
Yeah,
there.
but it felt
Um,
like that trope of like her being related to the bad guy. I feel like that's a trope that happens a lot, like type of thing. I will
That's
say
fair.
him dropping her down the chute. I was like, yeah, dang.
So
Oh,
this was a 6 when I came in. I'm going to rate it a 7, and I will be watching
on,
it again to
7.
make sure. So it is now a 7.
Come on, 7.
And maybe
Make it
for the
snitty.
panel, I'll give Sweeney Todd one more chance. But I warn you, I probably will still not like it. But I'm willing to give it a
Don't
shot.
do it. Save yourself. I don't.
Save myself.
No one's forcing you. It's
No, I
just
know.
No,
one
nobody's
of
forcing
Johnny's
you.
best
Open-minded
performances ever.
to change
I know,
it
right?
because
It's one of his
movies-
best, and I'm just like,
Movies change.
Okay.
When I saw Godfather when I was a teenager, I thought it was dry, boring, and pointless. I watched it again 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, oh shit!
it's still
I was
dry, boring, and
blind.
point-
No, I don't. I don't think so. I think the second one is. I think Godfather 2 is wildly overrated, and I don't understand why people
that's
love
crazy. That's like everybody in the world.
it. They say it's the best sequel ever, and I watched it and I
did
went.
not
They
see
say it's the
sequel.
best sequel.
I mean,
That's all I hear
it's
in my
got
life.
some
is that's the
interesting
best
parts.
sequel ever.
Pacino does a good job. Like But overall, nobody grows. There's no character arcs. Like they don't move at all. They stay exactly flat through the whole film, and that's boring. So,
I mean, they are mobsters. I wouldn't expect them to grow as people. But I guess
You said gross people.
well, no, but in The Godfather, Michael Corleone does grow as a character. Like he changes dramatically from the beginning to the end. But in the second Godfather, he is exactly the same guy at the beginning as he is at the end of the film, and it's
gotcha.
Why am I watching him if he's not going to change even for the worse? Like he at least needs to get worse, and I don't think he got worse. I digress.
Gotcha.
You said you wanted to say it at the end. I'll let you say it at the end.
Yes, I do. I know you guys heard this from the beginning, but if you came in the middle, you feel me, of the live, however it is, don't forget to follow us on all social media. We have our own separate, and we also have The Real Study as well. Come join us on Discord. What's that? Suggest a film or, a TV show or something like that for us to watch, or you never know. We might watch you, might veto it. We rarely do. Don't forget to like and sub to this particular video itself. You know what I'm saying? Hit that bell. Make sure you don't miss any notifications that comes from The Real Study. We post a lot. We post some good stuff. We post some good clips. Come join us. These is finger guns if you're listening on a podcast.
She's finger gunning.
Is that a euphemism? It feels like a euphemism, but we won't need to go into that.
You take that how you want, people.
Yeah.
Join us. Join us.
What kind of show is this? What?
An amazing one. Full of whimsy, unlike that Wonka movie. No, it's
what I like about The Real Study, if I may, is that we don't agree and we're able to still keep doing this, and that's an important factor because we don't have to just ruin it then. Oh god, she agreed with, but no, like there have been those moments where the Green Knight or Wonka happens,
right when we all agreed that movie was really fantastic.
It was so amazing. Everybody said they loved it. It was
really great. Rewriting history. Whatever.
All right, you can go watch. That's not true. It was actually this same panel.
Go check it out.
Right?
Yeah, go check it out.
Panel.
Would you watch Green Knight or Wonka again? Like,
ooh, that's a good question. Let's hear it.
Oh my god, probably Wonka.
Honestly,
I will never watch.
I would watch
that
Wonka
movie.
again. I would watch Wonka again. And the only reason I have that beautiful 4K box of the Green Knight was because A24 gave it to me for free for my birthday. Do you understand me? I had to make a choice.
You never again.
A24. I love that movie. Can you send me a 4K of that?
Okay, period.
Aina brings up Knight of Cups. That was another one where we were all just like, oh.
I didn't see
also,
that.
I don't remember that. I must not have been here for that. I gotta get all the films I missed that January.
That's what I did.
January,
I went through the lists on Letterboxd.
Oh.
Yeah, I gotta go through those films so I can watch them and make videos of them because y'all watched some movies that I wanted to watch and I was highly disappointed.
You really can skip Knight of Cups. I'm not trying to be like that, but like you do not need to
under every single circumstance, you can skip that.
Yeah, you do not need to put yourself through it. Genuinely. And it's got some amazing actors and nothing else. And Ray and I completely
I have never
agree
felt
on
my
this.
time was more wasted than that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
That is real.
Yeah.
Oh,
and if we're agreeing, that should tell you something. Like
it should, but my OCD gonna make me watch it. And kill it.
Hey, now I'm like interested now.
If you want to,
yeah, I'm gonna kill
it. I do want to know if you
a
do.
review.
So anyway,
I have to run.
You do, and so do we. This has been episode
Ray.
22 of season 3 of The Real Study. You guys have a great night.
Have a really great day.
Bye.
Bye. Don't fudge it up.
Wow, sir. Wow, sir.